"Help me train this wild horse cowboy, and I'll give you half my ranch," said the millionaire. Can he tame the untamable? Watch to see what happens next. Like and subscribe for more incredible stories. Dust swirled across the sprawling Montana plains as Jake Cowboy Reynolds tightened his worn leather gloves. A horse kicked up dirt nearby, wild-eyed and untamed. He'd seen a lot in his 35-year stampedes, bar brawls, and backcountry rescues, but nothing like this. From the shadow of a sleek, black SUV, a woman stepped out. She was impeccably dressed for ranch life, well, as much as a city-bred millionaire could be, and every inch radiated confidence. Her name was Veronica Steele, heiress to a sprawling cattle empire worth more than Jake could count in a lifetime. "Cowboy," she said, her voice sharp, yet tinged with desperation. "I need you to help me train this horse. He's impossible. And if you succeed, I'll give you half my ranch." Jake laughed bitter and low. "Half your ranch? Lady, I've been rode hard and put up wet for years. I've seen ranches, and I ain't never trusted a millionaire to keep her word." Veronica's eyes didn't waver. "I'm serious. This horse is the key to my operations. If you can tame him, I want you by my side. My ranch, it could be yours too." Intrigued by the audacity and the challenge, Jake agreed. Over the following weeks, Jake and Veronica clashed, laughed, and sometimes argued as he taught the wild stallion to trust humans. Veronica proved to be braver than her polished image suggested, riding alongside him, mending fences, and even learning the ropes of cattle drives. Then came the day of reckoning. A thunderstorm rolled in, the horse bolting in panic, and a river threatening to flood the lower pasture. Jake, Veronica, and the stallion had only moments to act, using a combination of grit, skill, and sheer courage. They saved the ranch and each other. By sunset, the horse was calm, standing beside Jake as if acknowledging a hard-won respect. Veronica dismounted, wind-tossed hair framing a triumphant smile. "Half the ranch, cowboy," she said softly. "As promised." Jake shook his head, feeling something he hadn't in years: trust, and maybe something more. "I think I'll start with learning your name better before I claim half a ranch, Miss Steele." And with that, the millionaire and the cowboy forged a partnership that would turn the wild plains into a legacy and, perhaps, turn a chance encounter into something lasting. The Montana sun beat down on the sprawling Steele ranch, a fortress of rolling plains, wild timber, and herds that seemed endless. Jake Cowboy Reynolds had been hired across the state to handle tough horses, but when a sleek black SUV kicked up dust at the ranch gates, he knew this job would be unlike any other. Out stepped Veronica Steele, the legendary billionaire heiress who had made her fortune in cattle, tech, and land investments. Clad in designer boots and a sun hat that looked more suited to a yacht than a ranch, she exuded confidence, but there was an edge of desperation in her eyes. "Cowboy," she began, striding toward him with determination. "I need you to train him." She pointed at a massive black stallion pawing the ground, muscles rippling, eyes like fire. "He's untouchable. I've had 30 trainers fail. If you succeed, I'll give you half my ranch." Jake raised an eyebrow, amused but skeptical. "Half your ranch? Lady, I've been rode hard and put up wet, but that doesn't mean I trust millionaires to keep promises, especially wild ones like you on him." Veronica didn't flinch. "I'm serious. This horse is key to my operations, and he's my heart. I need someone with guts and experience. Someone like you." Intrigued and perhaps a little challenged, Jake agreed, sensing adventure and reward in equal measure. The training begins. Days turned into weeks as Jake worked with the stallion. Every attempt to calm him was met with danger, rearing, bolting, and sometimes teeth flashing like lightning. Veronica, refusing to be sidelined, joined him in the paddock, showing courage and surprising skill. She fell off more times than she could count, But each tumble brought Jake closer to her. Beneath her polished exterior was a woman who wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty, who laughed at fear and met challenges head-on. Jake found himself teaching more than just the horse. He taught Veronica patience, respect, and trust, the kind earned not by money, but by action. And slowly, the stallion responded, allowing glimmers of connection to form. The crisis one late afternoon. Dark storm clouds rolled across the horizon. The wind howled, lightning split the sky, and the once controlled stallion panicked. The gates burst open, sending cattle scattering. The river nearby swelling with sudden rain. Jake and Veronica raced against the elements, chasing the horse, calming the herd, and securing the fences. At one point, the stallion bolted toward the river, and Veronica, without thinking, jumped into the water after him. Jake dove in seconds later. Together, they guided the horse to safety. The river was tamed, the herd calm, and the storm retreating. The stallion nuzzled Jake's shoulder, then Veronica's. A silent acknowledgement of trust and respect earned in chaos. The reward and the connection. As the sun set, painting the plains in gold, Veronica dismounted and faced Jake, soaked, exhausted, but triumphant. "Half the ranch, cowboy," she said softly, a playful smile tugging at her lips. Jake shook his head, feeling something he hadn't felt in years: trust, and maybe a spark of something deeper. "I think I'll start with learning your name better, before claiming half a ranch, Miss Steele." Veronica laughed, the sound mixing with the soft neigh of the stallion and the whispering wind. "Then you'll have plenty of time to learn," she replied, brushing rain from her hair. And so, a billionaire heiress and a rugged cowboy began a partnership that would tame wild hearts, conquer untamed land, and turn the Steele Ranch into a legend of courage, love, and trust. Dust swirled across the Montana plains as Jake Cowboy Reynolds tightened his gloves. He had heard stories about the Steele Ranch, a sprawling empire of cattle, horses, and timber, but he had never imagined meeting its owner, Veronica Steele. Veronica stepped out of her sleek SUV, heels sinking slightly in the dirt. Her silhouette clashed with the rugged ranch, but her eyes held steel. "Cowboy," she called, pointing to a massive black stallion rearing and snorting in the paddock. "I need you to train this horse. He's untouchable. If you succeed, I'll give you half my ranch." Jake smirked. "Half your ranch? You're serious?" Veronica nodded, unwavering, dead serious. "This horse is my legacy. Tame him, and you'll have a piece of mine." Jake spent days assessing the stallion, whom Veronica had named Midnight. The horse was strong, unpredictable, and clever, refusing food, ropes, or coaxing. Every approach ended in a near disaster: kicked fences, flying debris, and heart-stopping bolts. Veronica insisted on participating. She rode alongside Jake, mending fences, her laughter and determination cutting through the tension. She fell repeatedly, but each time she got up with a defiance that impressed Jake more than her money ever could. Slowly, Jake noticed the stallion responding to subtle cues, and more surprisingly, Veronica was learning too. A mutual respect formed between them, not just for the horse, but for each other. Word spread that a cowboy was taming Midnight and possibly earning half the Steele Ranch. Local ranchers, envious and greedy, plotted to sabotage their efforts. Fences were cut, supplies stolen, and wild rumors circulated about Veronica's intentions. One night, Jake discovered a gang trying to corral Midnight for their own gain. With only his lasso, quick thinking, and brute strength, he stopped them. Veronica watched from the ridge, awestruck by his courage. "It's not just about taming the horse, cowboy," she said that night. "It's about trust and courage. You've got both." One fateful afternoon, storm clouds rolled in, dark and threatening. Midnight panicked, breaking free from the paddock. Cattle stampeded, gates flew open, and the nearby river began to Flood. Jake chased the stallion across slippery fields, Veronica close behind. Lightning cracked above them as midnight charged toward the river. Veronica dove in to save him, and Jake followed without hesitation. Together, they guided the horse to safety, the river raging around them. By the time they reached dry land, soaked and exhausted, a bond had been sealed not just with the horse, but with each other. As the storm cleared, Veronica turned to Jake, rain dripping from her hair, a smile on her face. "Half the ranch." "Cowboy," she said softly. Jake shook his head, smiling wryly. "I think I'll start with learning your name better before claiming half a ranch, Miss Steele." Veronica laughed, brushing rain from her hair. "Then you'll have plenty of time to learn." The stallion neighed, nuzzling both of them, as if giving its own blessing. The Montana plains stretched endlessly before them, a new chapter waiting to be written, a chapter of courage, trust, love, and partnership. Weeks passed, and the Steele Ranch flourished under Jake and Veronica's combined efforts. Midnight was no longer untouchable. He was a symbol of their teamwork and determination. The ranchers who doubted them now respected them, and some even sought advice from the cowboy who had tamed the wildest horse in Montana. At sunset, Jake and Veronica rode side by side, feeling the wind on their faces. They knew challenges would come: rival ranchers, harsh winters, and the weight of legacy, but together, they were unstoppable. And as they guided midnight across the Golden Plains, it was clear that the Steele Ranch was no longer just a place. It was a promise, a partnership, and a love story written in dust, sweat, and determination.